You're watching NBC5 Today at 6.
An outpouring of support for Dallas police. The emotional vigil as President Obama heads to North Texas. Plus, trying to get downtown back to normal, the roads that are back open this morning. And honoring the fallen officers, the tributes and memorials from all over the country coming up on NBC5 Today. Good morning, it is 6 o'clock and welcome to a special edition of NBC5 Today. I'm Mark Fine, joined by Deborah Ferguson, who is live at the Meyerson Symphony Center in Dallas. Deborah, President Obama heads to Dallas today. The main goal here, to help the families of those fallen officers.
Exactly, Mark. Once again, the president is being called upon to serve as consoler-in-chief as this city still tries to come to grips with what happened on Thursday night and the death of 5 police officers. The president will be here at the Meyerson Symphony Center for an interfaith tribute service. The president was invited to Dallas by the mayor, Mike Rawlings. This service will be packed with 2,000 people, but this is not open to the public. This service is strictly for members, family members of the fallen officers, as well as members of the Dallas Police Department, as they try to come together and try to start the healing process. Community leaders will also be here as well. So here's how the day is expected to play out. President Obama arrives in Air Force One at Dallas Love Field just after noon today. He will make his way from Dallas Love Field here to the Arts District. The memorial service is expected to start around 1 o'clock and to last about an hour. Keep in mind, though, with the president's schedule, sometimes those times are a little bit iffy. After this service, in which the president will speak, he and the First Lady will then meet privately with the families of the 5 fallen officers. And then later tonight, Mr. and Mrs. Obama will head back to Washington, D.C. We also know that Vice President Joe Biden, the country's 2 top leaders, will be here. Dr. Jill Biden, the Vice President's wife, will be here. Former President George W. Bush and First Lady Laura Bush, who live in Dallas, will also be at this interfaith service. President Bush is among those who will speak, as well as Dallas Police Chief David Brown. We learned that Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who'd hoped that he could be here, will not be in Dallas today. He right now is in San Antonio under a doctor's care for burns. You may remember we told you yesterday both of the governor's legs were accidentally burned with scalding waters last week as he was on vacation with his family in Wyoming. Doctors advised him not to travel, but the governor wanted to come to Dallas in the day after the shootings to be of presence and offer support to Mayor Mike Rawlings in the city. Doctors say that the burns the governor has are now infected. The governor will need skin grafts, so he will not be here. His wife, Cecilia, the First Lady of Texas, will attend today's interfaith service. We do have team coverage of the president's visit on this Tuesday morning. We get started now with NBC5's Ben Russell, who is live in another part of downtown Dallas. Ben, we also have to talk about the investigation that continues to go on.
And there is a lot of work that needs to be done, Deborah. Much of downtown Dallas is still a crime scene, but overnight that crime scene shrunk significantly. I'm in Main and Lamar Streets, and this is as close as anyone can get to the area where all of those bullets were flying the other night. In fact, if you can look just off to my right here, you see these large columns on this building. This is an area where that shooter was weaving in and out of. He was seen firing shots from just footsteps away from where I'm standing right now. This is as close, like we said, as anyone, as a member of the public, has been able to get to the actual scene of the crime for days. Much of downtown Dallas, a significant portion of the city, was shut down as of late Thursday night into Friday morning. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, they shut this area down so they could control this area because of that crime scene investigation. Overnight, a lot of that changed. Now it is only the streets around the El Centro College campus that remain closed. Main and Elm between Market and Lamar Streets, and Main and Commerce between Austin and Lamar, that area is closed. There is a lot of work that needs to go on still here. This is just one more step in returning to some sense of normal, Deborah. At the very least, the new normal, as best as it can, in the wake of just what happened here days ago.
Exactly. All right, Ben. So even with all of those streets opening, there will still be traffic problems in downtown Dallas because of the president's arrival later today. The city says to expect street closures to double or possibly even triple because of the president's visit. So city leaders advise if you don't have to be in downtown Dallas, it's just simply best to stay away from this area. Now, if you did plan to come to the George Allen Courthouse for jury duty today, keep in mind that jury duty service for today has been canceled. Of course, people are still trying to process and try to come to grips and understand with what happened here last Thursday night, the deaths of 5 police officers. And we've turned to clergy members, we've turned to counselors to try to find some answers. Katie Blakey has spent some time talking with folks and finding out ways they are trying to work through their grief and the healing process. And Katie joins us now live from Dallas Police Headquarters. Katie, good morning.
Good morning, Deborah. I spoke to one woman yesterday who says she just feels broken. And you know, in the last few days, we've felt a lot of that. We've seen a lot of people come here to DPD headquarters and show their support for police, and that is a start. But having a conversation is also a start. So yesterday, we set out to talk to people, but mainly just to listen.
It's been real somber. Real sad.
All across North Texas,
This is a big mess, but everybody needs to come together.
it is the conversation
They watch the news and they just drop their head.
we'd rather not be having.
Dallas not unique of what happened. Dallas just one of the latest victims.
Though it's consumed our thoughts
I'm sad for Dallas. I feel like we're broken.
and our hearts.
I really hate that this world has come to this.
It's a really complicated situation, and it's not as simple as people make it out to be. You can be, pro Black Lives Matter, and you can also be pro police.
Every police department have bad police officers. I don't care what nationality you are, you have bad police officers. You have a lot of good officers, but unfortunately, you only see the bad.
It ain't just police killing folks, it ain't white, black. We have people killing people every day.
Only one person have that right. It's not you and me at all. But he took it in his hands to do that. How can I say? Damn it.
You know, I just never realized that this world was so full of hatred and prejudice. It just blows me away.
We all wanted to stop, but the solution,
We need to be better neighbors. We need to know our neighbors. I mean, I right now couldn't tell you my neighbor's name, except just one of my neighbor's names.
Because it's easy to be prejudiced against somebody you don't know. Get to know them, you might like them.
may not lie in each other.
I think everybody's watching Dallas. I think that Dallas is going to rise above this and be bigger and better. I think everybody's watching to see what direction we're going to go in. And are we going to make the difference? And we just might be the city to do it.
A lot of interesting conversation. It remains to be seen if Dallas will be that city that sparks a change. Hopefully today's interface service will be a start. Back to you, Deborah.
Yeah, interesting conversations, Katie, very important conversations as well. Also keep in mind there are a lot of people who are turning to counselors. UNT Dallas has a School of Human Services, and once it realized that the magnitude of this tragedy, it decided to expand its hours of counseling services to make those services available to the public. It's a very important mission for this school. And coming at Mark through the morning, we're going to talk to 2 doctors with that college about how folks can access that counseling, and also, Mark, to hear what some of the students at UNT Dallas are dealing with. They were there on Thursday night in that peaceful protest and witnessed the carnage that happened on the streets of downtown. So more coverage coming up through the morning, Mark.
All right, we'll check back with you shortly. Deborah, thank you. Right now, though, we do want to get an update on your forecast. Grant Johnston standing by, and pretty look at downtown there, although a little bit of a somber feel to the skies today, and maybe that's appropriate.
Well, like clockwork, clouds are kind of rolling in here as we approach sunrise. Looking at the Dallas skyline, there's also a steady breeze blowing through. We'll have that through the day. Let me show you radar here off the top because there have been a few sprinkles and a couple small pockets of rain showing up on the radar scope. As we zoom in here to take a closer look, not a whole lot reaching the ground, but you may notice a sprinkle or two as you venture out. Instead, some morning clouds and then afternoon sunshine. I suspect we'll be dealing with these clouds till about mid-morning. Upper 70s for temperatures as you head out the door. 90 at 11. 97 will be today's high temperature, and it will be quite breezy from the south, 15-25 miles per hour. We'll take the extended forecast coming up. Let's get a traffic update right now with Samantha.
All right, Grandin, at 6:10, I'm following one accident across the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it is in the northbound lanes of 35E at Royal Lane. You've got your left lanes blocked right now, so there is one lane of traffic getting by as folks are trying to head north up towards 635 LBJ, and this is creating a little bit of a backup. Now, in downtown Dallas right now, we're starting to see the traffic picking up mainly because of rush hour on I-30 as well as 35E. But this morning we do have new information on street closures for you. Some of them have reopened. Market Street, Elm, Lamar, and Commerce back open. Portions of Main and Austin Street do remain closed. And then also the Texas Club parking garage is closed as well as El Centro College until further notice. So as we take a look at the traffic through downtown Dallas right now, this is 35 Stemmons, and there's a little bit of a backup as folks are exiting on Commerce Street, but overall it is not bad right now. Where I'm really starting to see the delays is on Woodall Rogers. As you can see, people making that merge to Stemmons. That's where we're dealing with a little bit of a backup. Mark?
All right, Samantha, thank you. Coming up is Donald Trump closing in on Hillary Clinton. We've got new poll numbers. Trump and Clinton continue to work through a very important week, the latest in their fight for the White House. And two fires burning out of control in Colorado. We've got details on how many homes are in danger for those living nearby. And of course, we continue our coverage from downtown Dallas, a look at the Arts District there, the Meyerson Symphony Center, where President Obama will speak later today. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage at the Meyerson Symphony Center, where later today President Obama arrives in Dallas to headline an interfaith tribute service to the 5 fallen officers. This city and this community try to get past what happened on Thursday night. It is a very, very difficult task. Keep in mind, there were hundreds of people who were in downtown Dallas Thursday night when the violence started. They heard the gunfire. They saw those officers fall and their lives end. UNT has two campuses in Dallas. One is on the south end of Dallas. The other is the College of Law in downtown. And UNT is serving the community once again during these tough days by offering counseling services for the community. And with us right now are two doctors from UNT. We have with us here in the Pearls, Dr. Jamaica Chappell, the Dean of Students for UNT Dallas, and also Dr. Constance Lacey, who is the Dean of the School of Human Services. And I want to start with you first, Dr. Chappell. The College of Law is here in downtown. You had students who were there on Thursday night. Tell us about that.
So our students were a part of the peaceful protest, and they witnessed firsthand the shootings and experienced a great deal of shock and trauma, things that will probably be with them for a very long time. And so we just felt the need to have a starting point for healing and restoration on our campus.
And you started with the students, but then I also understand, Dr. Lacey, you realized very quickly this was a community-wide effort and you wanted to expand those counseling services. Talk about that, please.
Yes, at the University of North Texas at Dallas, one of the things that we have committed to is strengthening our community. And with this difficult time happening, we wanted to make sure that we provided those services to the community as well as to our students.
And you have done this for a few days now, and the work continues.
As soon as we found out Friday, Dr. Chappell started to galvanize the team together. We have students who are alumni as well as our active students in our Master's in Counseling program. Our faculty pulled together and did a great job of providing services. And so we've been open to the community for the last few days, and we will be open ongoing to this week as well.
All right. And what are the kinds of things, Dr. Chappell, that you all are hearing from people who are taking advantage of this service?
Just their overwhelming experience of they're still in a state of shock and in a state of grief, great grief, and that mourning will continue for quite some time, and we want to be a part of the healing process for our UNT Dallas community and the community that we serve.
Exactly. It will be a difficult road moving forward, but thankfully UNT Dallas is here to help. Thank you, ladies, both for coming in.
Thank you.
We sure hope the best for your students.
Thank you.
All right, and also the doctors wanted me to let you know that if you were interested in these counseling services, real quickly, the number is 972-780-3600. We'll kind of get that information up on our website, but UNT Dallas definitely here to help. Mark, that is the latest right now from the Meyerson Symphony Center. We expect Dallas Mayor Mike Rawlings to join us here a little bit later, so look forward to that coverage.
Absolutely. All right, Deborah, thank you. Now time to get folks at home up to date on the forecast as they get ready to head out.
Did you get Luther's hair off of your hands?
We had a comfort dog in about a half hour ago.
He was cute.
Yeah,
he was one of the cutest
dog,
things in the studio in a long time.
Yeah, made us all smile. That's what they're for.
Sure did, yeah. Good boy, Mark. All right, let's check it out here. Looking at the Trinity River in Fort Worth, we've got some clouds that have kind of rolled in, especially on the Dallas side. But similar to yesterday, I think we'll have a few clouds from time to time this morning before we see more sunshine. 78 is your temperature as you step outside. That south breeze still blowing. Humidity is up there. Dew point at 71. This is the wind forecast. The computer showing those wind speeds around 15 to 20 miles per hour from the south. The orientation of the arrows here represent the wind direction, the direction it's coming from. We may have some peak gusts up to 30 miles per hour later today. So, yeah, it's going to be windy. Certainly with the wind around, it begs the question, is there any rain and thunderstorms action nearby? The answer to that is no. Some stormy weather up through Kansas and Missouri, and big-time storms rolling through Kansas City earlier. We're on the southern flank, though, and typical this time of year when storms or rain kind of dives south in the hotter air, they tend to fall apart and weaken. That's what some of this rain is doing. You may get some sprinkles to the east, Sulphur Springs and Paris, also out toward Abilene, but I'm not expecting anything here in Dallas-Fort Worth other than some of those clouds. So upper 70s with some cloud cover as you head out the door, breezy and warming up quickly. 90 at 11 o'clock, 97 for today's high with a hot breeze blowing through. It will stay dry. Your 10-day forecast showing 97 again tomorrow with that wind stretching through Thursday. As we head into Friday and Saturday, I'm expecting the wind to drop off a little bit. 99 Thursday, Friday, Saturday about the same. 98. Looks like a nice weekend to have some summer fun in the sun. And maybe taking the boat out on the lake. 98 Sunday, more hot weather ahead next week. Let's see how things are shaping up on the roads this morning. Good news or bad news, Samantha?
Well, good news in Arlington at 6:20. We just had an accident clear 20 eastbound right before 360. This is our TxDOT camera at New York Avenue. And as you can see, both lanes of traffic moving along, no major problems. And again, that accident is completely gone. For drivers in Fort Worth, you're starting to see a little bit of rush hour traffic, 35W northbound approaching 121. But overall, the city of Fort Worth not dealing with any major problems. If you need to hit the roads in Collin County, no traffic problems on 75 Central or your toll roads. And then in Denton County, 35E and 35W, both in good shape. Now, for those of you that use DART, the West End station is back open, normal operations for DART. And then for those of you that use the TRE, everything on schedule this morning. Mark?
All right, Samantha, thank you very much. Right now, 2 dangerous wildfires are continuing to scorch the mountains north of Denver and Colorado. This fire we see here is called the Hayden Pass fire. Overnight, we got an update. 12,000 acres burning out of control, threatening 109 homes. Now, so far, no homes have been destroyed by this fire. The other fire burning is the Cold Springs fire. That one has already burned 3 homes. You see the damage here, more than 600 acres as well. The fire also 0% contained at this time. All right, coming up, another attack on police. This time a man steals a gun from an officer and then goes on a rampage. His ex-wife defending his actions. And Jeb Bush goes on the attack against Donald Trump, why he's comparing Trump's campaign to an alternative universe. And a live look from Chopper 5 as we prepare for the arrival of President Obama and the service today in downtown Dallas. We'll be right back. Welcome back, 625. We're following a developing story this morning, an attack at a courthouse in Michigan. This morning, new details on the shooting. Police say inmate Larry Darnell Gordon wanted to break out of custody. Gordon at the Berrien County Courthouse for a hearing yesterday. He was being transferred when he got into a fight with one of the deputies escorting him. Gordon took the gun of one of the deputies and shot 2 deputies. Overnight, those deputies who were shot were identified as Joseph Zangaro and Ronald Keinzel. Police say Darnell took several shots before other officers wound up killing him. Now, his ex-wife says she spoke to him on Sunday and there was no indication of any issues.
All he wanted to do was get home to our baby girl, and to me, he wanted to try and reconcile.
Now, another deputy and a woman were also hurt, but police say they are expected to be okay. We turn now to Decision 2016 and a new poll released overnight showing Hillary Clinton's lead over Donald Trump shrinking. The latest NBC News Survey Monkey poll showing Clinton with just a 3-point lead over Trump, 47 to 44%. This just a few days after FBI Director James Comey recommended that no criminal charges be filed against Clinton over that email scandal. Today could also be a big day for Trump. Speculation swirling that the presumptive Republican nominee is close to announcing his vice presidential pick in the next couple of days. Trump will be in Indiana tonight alongside Republican Governor Mike Pence. Pence on Trump's short list for VP. The governor seen as a good fundraiser, a steady voice, and he could help Trump in some swing states. Meanwhile, one of Trump's former competitors, Jeb Bush, lashing out on MSNBC last night. Bush attacking Trump's personality and saying Trump will go back on campaign promises.
This is all like a alternative universe that he created. The reality is that's not going to happen. In this extraordinary country, still the greatest country on the face of the earth, will continue to stagger instead of soar. And that's the heartbreaking part of this, is I think people are going to really feel betrayed.
Bush also added that Trump is doing a very good job at exploiting the political climate to his advantage. Meanwhile, on the Democratic side, all eyes on Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. For the first time, the two will campaign together. It is expected Sanders will formally endorse Clinton. The two holding a rally in New Hampshire. Clinton, of course, became the presumptive Democratic nominee last month. Coming up, we're going to talk to Mayor Mike Rawlings about healing after a horrific tragedy and helping officers grieve. We'll be right back.
You're watching NBC5 Today at 6.
6:30 now, and this morning on NBC5 Today, family and friends of the fallen officers getting ready to say their final goodbyes just days after the shootings in downtown Dallas. And today, the city preparing for President Obama's visit. He will speak at a memorial service for the 5 officers and meet with their families. Plus, new changes this morning for downtown Dallas, at least for the drivers, as police continue the process of clearing an enormous crime scene and trying to return to business as usual. Good morning again, 6:30. Welcome to a special edition of NBC5 Today. I'm Mark Fine, joined by Deborah Ferguson, who is live at the Meyerson Symphony Center in Dallas. Deborah, the president heading to Dallas today to try and help those families of the fallen officers grieve.
Yes, and the officers, Mark, whose names are just etched into our minds: Smith, Aarons, Kroll, Zamaripa, Thompson. The names of those 5 officers will be in the hearts and the minds of everyone for so long, and they are the reason why President Obama will be here later today in a tribute service to those officers. He has a tough job. He will come to a city that is grieving from the highest loss of life in law enforcement since September 11th. He will try to comfort this city, and at the same time, he will also try to bring forth a message to try to calm the anger that continues across this country in the wake of several police shootings. He will try to bridge a divide that just seems to get wider. The ceremony, the tribute service that will happen here at the Meyerson Symphony, is expected to be at capacity, more than 2,000 people. This is a private service, though, a ticketed event strictly for the families of the fallen officers, members of the law enforcement community, as well as dignitaries. Here's how we expect this day to play out. Air Force One carrying President Obama and the First Lady will land at Dallas Love Field a little after noon. The President and the First Lady will then come to the Arts District of downtown, where that service should start around 1 o'clock, expected to last about an hour. Once the remarks are made, the President and the First Lady will then meet privately with the families of the fallen officers before heading back to Washington, D.C. Along with the president, the vice president, and his wife will be here, and the former president, George W. Bush, and the former First Lady, Laura Bush, who live in Dallas, will also be among the speakers. The governor of Texas will not be here. Perhaps you have remembered that his legs were burned, 2nd and 3rd degree burns through scalding water on a family trip to Wyoming. So he is in San Antonio continuing to get care. The First Lady of Texas will be here instead. We do have team coverage on this Tuesday morning of the tragedy in Dallas. We get started with NBC 5's Ben Russell, who is in just a few sections over in downtown. Ben, good morning.
Good morning to you, Deborah. I'm standing at Main and Lamar Streets, and the area back behind me for at least one block had been shut down for 4 days, the better part of 4 days, but that changed overnight as police narrow their investigation where we're standing here. This is now a much smaller area of cordoned off downtown Dallas that is inaccessible. I have a pretty dramatic before and after that I can show you here of exactly what we're talking about. Since Friday through Monday, a huge section of downtown was shut off, inaccessible to the public, but that changed overnight. Like we said, now there is a much smaller area from Elm and Main between Market and Lamar, and then from Main and Commerce between Austin and Lamar Streets. This is the area that's shut down now. The reason for that is because this is where all of that terror played out late Thursday night. This is the El Centro College building. This is the parking garage where we had our cameras and police had their weapons trained for so many hours Thursday into Friday. There is a lot of work that needs to be done here. They don't want people coming in and out yet. It is a massive crime scene investigation, Deborah, one that will continue, no doubt, for some time. Back to you.
Yes, all right, Ben, thank you so much. We are back now here live outside the Meyerson Symphony Center, joined now by Dallas Mayor Mike Rawlings to talk about the service today with President Obama. Thank you, Mayor, for being with us. You invited President Obama to come to Dallas. Why? What is your hope for today?
You know, this has been a terrible disaster for us, and we're going to go through a lot of mourning process. I thought today could be a great day of healing, to have the president here to help us heal with President Bush, to show the country and the world that we can reach across party lines, racial lines, and lead us to a better place.
I am struck by that visual image that's in my head of, two men who, one currently leads the greatest country in the world, the other a former leader, one black, one white, different walks in politics, but in that you see unity by them both being here.
I do, and one of them is a Dallas resident,
yes,
too.
Yes.
So he's got a local bent to it, and I think symbolism means a lot, and we need that at this time. And so hopefully today is a day of healing. It's a day of us being proud, too, of Dallas. I mean, we're a little down right now. We need to sit up and stand up and be proud, and we're going to be proud today.
And in this day of healing, Mayor, I can't help but notice the program that we have a copy of. It begins with an interfaith choir performance and prayers from interfaith leaders. It ends with the battle hymn of the Republic. How much of your stamp is on this program? How much did you choreograph this today?
Well, I work very closely with our staff and the White House to make sure that we set the tone exactly the right way. I want to make sure our faith communities are the bedrock of this, and I wanted everybody to be represented. I wanted choir that represented churches across the Metroplex coming together in one harmonic piece of music. And I want to make sure that we get up at the end and we march off to make a change.
You talked about this is a day also for Dallas to be proud, to stand up, shoulders back, head held high. If you would gauge the response of your city in the days since the violence on Thursday night.
I think we're asking ourselves, why us? We've done a great job with our police department. We've got the lowest rates of police-related shootings in all large cities in the United States. So there's that question of introspection. And I think we should realize we've come out of this good, okay? We've been hit, but we're doing the right thing. We're a leader in this country, and we must set the tone, I think, for us to come together, and I think we're doing it.
How much will we hear that in your remarks this afternoon?
You're going to hear some of that tone. I want the presidents to speak. I want our interfaith leaders to speak, but that's the voice that I'm coming from right now.
I'm struck also yesterday, Dallas Police Chief Brown gave a very candid news conference with the reporters, and one of the reporters asked, how are you doing? And he just talked about how he's spent, he's fried. I have to ask you, Mayor, you've been in there too. Every time someone wants to talk about this, national media, local media, we're turning to you, we're turning to the chief. How are you, sir?
Well, I'll tell you this, when the chief gets down, I kind of bull him up and say, come on, we got to go a little more, and he's doing the same to me. I mean, Sunday night he tweeted me and said, hang in there, let's get some rest. We're going to take it on tomorrow again, and I think it's that sort of partnership. And the city council has been so supportive, the business community, citizens stop us on the street, and come on, it's almost like you're a marathoner, and they kind of applaud you as you're continuing your race, and we're going to make it through it. The families are the ones I'm worried about that I have to go through these funerals for the next few days.
We heard the chief say last night that to telling those families, we are your surrogate family, we are your brothers and sisters now. And my guess is you're extending that same message to those families. Rely on all of us to help you get through.
We do, and that's why the whole Metroplex is coming here today. And Mayor Price, Mayor Williams, Mayor Van Dyne, Mayor LaRossalle, all these folks, because people live in those cities that worked here. We're a community together, DFW, and we're going to wrap our arms around these families and in some way say we love you. We'll never forget.
Yeah, you are exactly right. We are such a big community, and I do find the more we talk about it, we do find others who, I knew that officer.
Yeah, it's just not in a few square blocks where it happened.
No.
It stretches all across North Texas.
Yeah, well, I know you have much work to do. Thank you so much, Mayor Rawlings, for joining us.
Thank you.
This morning, look forward to your comments at the service today. Again, that service will be here at the Meyerson Symphony Center. Mayor Mike Rawlings, many of the things you'll see today were orchestrated by him. He was just telling me, too, I got to point this out, that the last song of the service, Battle Hymn of the Republic, his wife, Mickey, suggested that the program close today with that. We've got more coverage to come now from Mark, but for now, I'll let the mayor get back to work and send it back to you in the studio.
All right, well, thank you to the mayor and to you, Deborah. We'll check back with you in a little bit. The events of Thursday night, of course, forcing 5 families to plan funerals for their loved ones. Those officers will be laid to rest this week. NBC5's Courtney Gilmore is at Prestonwood Baptist Church, that's in Plano, where the visitation for one of those officers will be held today. Courtney?
Good morning to you, Mark. Visitation for Senior Corporal Lauren Ahrens will be held right here at Prestonwood and Plano. Loved ones will say their final goodbyes to the man everyone knew for his big stature and even bigger smile. Take a look at his photo. His funeral service will also be held here at Prestonwood Church. It's for the husband and father of 2, Senior Corporal Lauren Ahrens, who was a 14-year veteran with the Dallas Police Department. He will be laid to rest Wednesday at 11 a.m. A DART officer, 43-year-old Brent Thompson, who was married just a few weeks ago, will have his funeral service on Wednesday as well at 10 a.m. at the Potter's House in Dallas. 55-year-old Sergeant Michael Smith with the Dallas Police Department, who is known for his compassion and giving heart, leaves behind his wife Heidi and 2 daughters. His funeral is set for Thursday at noon. Services will be held at Watermark Church in Dallas. And on Saturday, July 16th, 32-year-old Dallas police officer Patrick Zamaripa will have his funeral service at 11 a.m. at Wilkerson Grimes Activity Center in Fort Worth. The young officer joined the police force after 3 tours overseas. He leaves behind his 2-year-old daughter. Family and friends are still working on the details for the funeral services for Officer Michael Kroll. Now, back out here live, the next few days will be extremely hard for the loved ones of these 5 brave men, but the community continues to put their arms around them and also the police officers here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, letting them know that the community supports them. Back to you.
All right, Courtney Gilmore live for us there in Plano. Courtney, thank you. Time for us to get an update on that forecast now. We get it over to Grant Johnson. And Grant, noticed quite a bit of wind as I had I had my jacket on a hanger, almost blew right off the hanger as I was walking.
Yeah, hold on. The wind's going to be pretty strong again today. Mark, I've got the Fort Worth camera pulled up because it's displaying some really nice color now that the sun is up. We've got a few high clouds. Let me start out here with the radar because there have been just a few pockets of sprinkles at best, mainly to the east over towards Sulphur Silver Springs and Mineola. It's not out of the question. We're going to stay dry here in DFW, but we are seeing some morning clouds, a little thicker cloud coverage on the Dallas side. And as Mark pointed out, we're seeing that wind, and you'll feel it as you step outside. Temperatures starting in the upper 70s. The day planner shows our high at 97, so it will be quite hot with pretty good breeze blowing in from the south, 15 to 25. 10-day forecast coming up right now. Let's get over to Samantha Davies. New accidents, you say, coming in?
That's right. We've got 2 accidents, both on the 121 and 183 stretch of the mid-cities. What you're looking at right now, this is 121 at Norwood. This is an accident in the eastbound lanes that has your shoulder blocked, and then 121 northbound at Harwood. You've got an accident also blocking your right shoulder here. So if you're using 183 or 121 to get to the south entrance of DFW Airport, just give yourself a little extra time this morning. Other than that, we're watching closely the traffic in downtown Dallas right now, and we're really starting to see rush hour delays picking up I-35E northbound as well as I-30 westbound, both getting into the city. Average speeds right now at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Mark?
All right, thank you very much, Samantha. Well, 6:43 right now, and coming up, showing support for officers. 2 girls using some ingenuity to raise money for Dallas police officers. And a live shot from Chopper 5 for you right now. In the center of your picture there, that is the memorial for the Dallas police. There are 2 police cars under all that love. We'll be right back. Welcome back. 6:47. People from Dallas and all across the state showing their support for Dallas police officers. Yesterday, Houston police donated $20,000 to the Dallas Police Department. But listen to this. 2 girls created a lemonade stand in North Dallas to raise money. Now, apparently, folks had a lot of spare change because the girls ended up with $10,000 in just 2 days.
At first, we thought we would get about $100, but after we got to about $5,000, we realized we could really get this really high up.
After $5,000, they thought they could get it pretty high. They got it pretty high. Southwest Airlines, by the way, also donating $75,000 to help families. You know, again, guys, that's what we have seen this week. I said in a post on Facebook earlier this morning, our job this week has been equal parts hurt and hope. I think we have seen as much love and hope as we have the negative stuff.
Yeah, I always love it when you see young children kind of taking part in kind of understanding what's going on, because it's difficult for them too to process.
That's a lot of lemonade, 10,000.
That's right, a lot of cups of lemonade.
Entrepreneurs. Mark, you mentioned the wind earlier, and it's going to be with us again today. Here's your wind forecast, starting off with winds around 20 miles per hour from the south, so a nice warm wind out there. As we head through the day toward noon, it'll get a little stronger in this afternoon. Some wind speeds to 25, maybe even gusting up to 30 miles per hour. Look at this shot. Isn't that a beauty? In between the Wells Fargo and the D.R. Horton Tower in downtown Fort Worth. The sun is up. We've got more cloud cover, though, in Dallas right now, so not seeing quite the color that the Fort Worth sunrise is displaying. 78 is your temperature. The dew point 71. It's muggy. Humidity 79%. South wind at 15 right now. Here's the day ahead. A few morning clouds, then transitioning to mostly sunny skies, and as a result, temperatures will be warming quickly out of the 70s. We'll shoot straight through the 80s. We'll end up at 90 at 11 o'clock, 97 for today's high temperature, hot and breezy conditions. This evening, mostly sunny and dry. As we check on the picture here, the nationwide, we're looking at the heat. Of course, in the central and southern plains, triple digits just to our west. Nice and cool out on the west coast. San Francisco, 68. Warmer weather through the mid-Atlantic. Cleveland into the mid-90s. New York City in the low 80s. Travel weather, not a whole lot on the coast. See if you're catching a flight, maybe a quick business trip. But Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago in store for some rainy weather. That'll stay to our north. Here's your extended forecast. You can see we're going to stay dry for a while longer. Breezy and warm or hot, depending on your perspective, but still not quite to triple digits. Getting awfully close, though, by Thursday. And notice that's when the wind, pretty much how long the wind lasts. By Friday and Saturday, I'm expecting some lighter winds. Full sunshine, hot weather into the weekend, and your 10-day forecast shows dry weather continuing next week. Let's get back over to Samantha now to Mark for another update.
All right, thank you very much, Grant. Well, we are going to get it out to Deborah Ferguson. Again, she is live downtown for us at the Meyerson Symphony Center. and check in with what she has at this point. Deborah?
Yeah, Mark, good morning once again. You know, we spoke to Dallas Mayor Mike Rawlings just a few moments ago about what his hope is for this interfaith tribute service today for the 5 fallen officers. You heard him say, yes, his hope is for unity. Also, he hopes that at the end of it, it's a time for Dallas to just stand up and be proud of how this community has come together to support the fallen officers and those who've been injured. And we also had a conversation with Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins to find out what he hopes will come out of today's service. Here's what he told us.
To bring more compassion towards each other, to bring more respect, because the underlying issue is respect for all people, and to see things through the other person's perspective. That needs to be the legacy to building that stronger Dallas, not this act of hate that the shooter wanted to use to rip us further apart.
Stand strong for Dallas. That was the theme of a vigil that happened last night at Dallas City Hall. And more of the healing will continue today at this interfaith service here at the Meyerson Symphony Center. Another part of this story is happening at Dallas Police Headquarters. And for that, let's get to NBC5's Katie Blakey.
Good morning, Deborah. Joining me now is Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, and he's here today in Dallas. You're going to be at the interfaith ceremony later on today. Why was it important for you to be here?
Well, I wanted to be here to support the families who've lost loved ones. I also want to be here to support law enforcement for the incredible sacrifice that they make for our communities and for the people of this city.
What do you hope comes out of today's ceremony and out of all this loss we felt?
Well, I really hope that, one, we don't forget these families, because it's so easy over time to forget about them. Hope that we continue to remember them, but I also hope that there's an effort now to build a relationship between law enforcement and communities so that we can stop this from happening in the future.
We've talked to so many people over the last few days. A lot of people feel broken. They feel like there are a lot of problems, and they're looking to our leaders for some direction and to really work together. What are you going to do when you get back to Austin to work with other people, maybe people you don't agree with, to kind of solve some of these issues?
Well, one of the things I think, Operation Blue Shield, I'm wearing the ribbon today, it's an organization that works with communities and law enforcement trying to build a communication starting now so that going forward we have that communication. Just like the effort that the police department made in this case, where they went out and actually were protecting protesters who were protesting them. And then they stepped into the line of fire. But that's the kind of efforts I think we need to, it needs to be a national effort, not just a statewide effort.
Attorney General, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
It's an important day.
Deborah, we'll send it back to you.
All right, and Katie, once again, the nation's spotlight will shine on Dallas as it comes to grips with the tragedy that happened in downtown. And also today as the president arrives to try to move that healing process forward. Mark, we've got another thing we want to talk about before we end the hour, and we'll do that in just a little bit. But for now, back to you in the studio.
All right, we'll check right back with you, Deborah. Thank you. 6:54 right now. We want to give you a live look at downtown Dallas, where several streets are reopening this morning. Police have scaled back that active crime scene, so traffic moving again on parts of Lamar and Commerce. Traffic, though, could still be a problem as the president does come to town today. We'll have the latest on that after a quick break.
And we are back once again in the Arts District of downtown Dallas, just hours before the president arrives for today's interfaith service. And here's what I wanted to show you. That trailer you see back there is the Department of Veterans Affairs. They have been on site in Dallas since Saturday, offering free counseling to anyone who needs it. Primarily, they serve combat veterans. However, in a time like this, those counseling services are open to everyone. 1,000 people have taken advantage of these services since they arrived on site Saturday. They have moved here to right in front of the Meyerson Symphony Center. That is where Dallas will gather once again for this interfaith memorial service headlined by President Obama. He arrives at Dallas Love Field at 12:15 and then moves here to the Meyerson. Our coverage on air and online will begin at noon. Mark, back to you.
And we will carry that live here on NBC5. Deborah, terrific work out there this morning. Thank you. All right, we need to get to Samantha, though, to take a look at the roadway. It's going to be busy today, Sam.
Yeah, that's right. And we're already starting with 2 accidents in Tarrant County. What you're looking at, this is an accident 183 eastbound at Norwood. Your right shoulder is blocked. And then we also have an accident 121 northbound at Harwood. And as you can see, your right shoulder blocked here as well. Now, if you need to get into downtown Dallas, we do have one stalled vehicle that's impacting traffic. I-30 westbound at Cadiz Street. Your left shoulder is blocked. But But overall, as far as the traffic through downtown, we have some streets open this morning. Market, Elm, Lamar, and Commerce back open. A portion of Main and Austin remains closed, as well as the Texas Club parking garage and El Central College. That will be closed until further notice. Other than that, a little bit of slow traffic in the Allen area and also 35E in Denton County in Louisville. Grant?
Okay, thanks, Samantha. It's another mild start to the day and also quite breezy out there. Temperatures in the upper 70s. Yeah, pretty uniform temperature map here this morning. 79 in Fort Worth and 79 at Love Field in Dallas. Here's our Dallas shot. It's a beautiful sunrise. Not quite as many clouds as what we had yesterday morning, so that's a good thing, allowing for a little more color in the sunrise. Here's the day planner. We'll stay dry. The breeze is from the south this morning. It's already blowing about 10 to 20 miles per hour. It's only going to get stronger later in the day. Upper 70s for the temperature as you head out. 90 by 11 o'clock, 97 for today's high. So just a tad bit uncomfortable with the humidity. It'll feel more like 102 to 103, but that wind will take the edge off the heat slightly. Speaking of the wind, it'll stick around for a few more days. Tomorrow and Thursday look quite breezy. On into the weekend, the wind will lay down a little bit. 99 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right at 98 with plenty of sunshine, guys.
All right, big day ahead, of course, the memorial service at the Meyerson Symphony Center. We will have that live here on NBC 5 when it starts, scheduled to start at 12:30. Right now, though, let's take you to the Today Show.